evening, everyone. Thank you so much for that warm introduction. Thank you so much for all of your work that you have done on what we are terming the collateral consequences of reentry, but which are just a fact of life for so many returning citizens. I want to thank the Volunteer Lawyers for Justice Board of Directors and the Gala Committee for this signal honor. Congratulations also to my fellow honoree, Merck, for their commitment to the cause of justice. But most of all, thanks to all of you who were here tonight to celebrate the timely and important work of VLJ, who are still fighting for the essential rights and dignity of all of their clients. For 20 years, Volunteer Lawyers for Justice has worked to level the playing field for those for whom it always seems to be tilted against. It is truly an honor for me to be here tonight on this important anniversary. Anniversaries are important. Obviously, we celebrate the milestone of 20 years. It's a time to look back to the beginnings of the organization, but it's also a time to draw strength from what may have seemed impossible before, to look back at the accomplishments of those years and use that energy to keep pushing forward. You have highlighted the vital issue of civil access to justice, and you've done it by doing the hardest work of all, by working with those caught up in the chasm that still exists between the ideals of this country and the reality of life for so many in it. And the work that VLJ does has never been more important. It goes directly to the tension that has always been at the heart of our country: how to make real the promise of America, especially to those who only seem to bear the burdens of America. That's our challenge. How do we make real the promise of America, especially for those who only seem to bear the burdens of America? And this question is particularly important now as we stand at a crossroads. And make no mistake about it, that is where we are in our beloved country. Every day brings new evidence of the racial and class divides that we thought we had begun to heal. We've seen evidence of an America that we perhaps naively thought that we had vanquished. And in the midst of that, we still have so many who are struggling to find help to go through the most basic functions of life. And for those of us who love and live in the law, I know there are many lawyers in the audience tonight. I count so many of you as friends. I'm so glad that you're supporters, and of course those who work for VLJ. We are truly fortunate. We see the benefit of the law to ourselves and our clients. We study the progression of the history of justice, going as far back as the ancient Code of Hammurabi, through Magna Carta, through our own Constitution. We dance through statutes and books all day, reveling in the beauty and balance of precedent and foresight by learned judges. But we often forget, it's easy to do so, that for so many people, the law is still this mysterious force that swoops down upon them when they least expect it, and often at their most difficult and challenging time. And it acts to deprive them of the things that they value most: their liberty, their homes, their children, and most of all, their sense of safety and security. And so many of them navigate this path without a light or any form of guide. And for 20 years, VLJ has been their guide. For so many caught up, as my grandfather used to say, in the clutches of the law. More than ever, as our economy awakens but still leaves so many behind in its wake, your work is so important. We have to act instead, to deal with the specter of homelessness, economic insecurity, and food insecurity that impact far too many Americans, far too many of our citizens, far too many of our friends and family members. Yes, these are challenging times. It poses a tremendous test. We often think of tests like this that have been called existential, the crossroads in which we find ourselves, as tests for our leaders. And yes, they are. But make no mistake about it, this is a test for all of us. How will we counter the forces that keep the promise of America from so many? How will we deal with those who are locked out of the benefits that so many of us take for granted? How will we rise to this test? And as we think of all these questions, and as we think about this wonderful award for which I'm so grateful, I want us to actually focus on the true heroes of this event and the true heroes of this night. All of those who have gathered up their courage and entrusted their most difficult challenges, their darkest hours, their deepest problems to volunteer lawyers for justice. They have placed their trust, not just in VLJ, but in all of us, to be there for them, to be their light, to guide them through the confusing morass of the justice system. And they have placed that trust in us because they look on us as a beacon of that promise of America, of our Constitution, and of true equal access to the law. It is in their name that I accept this award, because I know that it is in their name that all of you at Volunteer Lawyers for Justice are fighting. I know that it is for them that you've dedicated your time, your energy, your spirit, and your commitment. And as we move forward through what are still somewhat dark times, I know that this organization will be committed to that cause. And I commit to stand with you. I can think of no better partner in this fight. I can think of no better ally in this cause. I can think of no better example for all of those out there who look up to us for the help and the assistance that we have promised them. So I want to thank you so much for this award, but more than that, I want to thank you for the work that you have done and the work that you will continue to do. Thank you so very, very much.